Let's throw one more obstacle at the riders before the 2018 Lucas Oil Pro Moto Cross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, concludes. It's the grand finale, Ironman National Ironman Raceway, about an hour west of Indianapolis and Crawfordsville, Indiana. Jason Wygant, joined by multi-time motocross and supercross champion Grant Langston, and Will Christian will be reporting from a muddy racetrack all afternoon. It has rained and rained and rained and rained and rained all morning long. We're going to have a good old-fashioned mud. Let's throw one more obstacle at the riders before the 2018 Lucas Oil Pro Moto Cross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, concludes. It's the grand finale, Ironman National Ironman Raceway, about an hour west of Indianapolis and Crawfordsville, Indiana. Jason Wygant, joined by multi-time motocross and supercross champion Grant Langston, and Will Christian will be reporting from a muddy racetrack all afternoon. It has rained and rained and rained and rained and rained all morning long. We're going to have a good old-fashioned mud race, and we could have even more rain at some point throughout the rest of the day. It's going to be a wild one, Grant.
It certainly is. Anytime you throw in weather, the outdoors become the great equalizer. If you're Eli Tomac, you've been strong in all conditions, but this is certainly not what you wanted to see on a potential championship day. But if you're Marvin Muskin, you got nothing to lose. This couldn't have worked out any better for him. Roll the dice, see what happens.
We'll show you the points in the 450 class. 20-point lead for Tomac. You can only score 25 in a given moto, so Tomac was looking at the potential of maybe even clinching the title in Moto 1 under normal conditions. But anything can happen now that we've got mud. Ken Roxon has a 9-point lead over Justin Barsha for third of the series. Blake Baggett is fifth. That position is pretty much locked in. So with Tomac now facing a mud race to try to lock up this title, the big question is, how will he approach it? Have a chance to send it down to Will Christian, and let's find out.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, I came over here to the Monster Kawasaki tent just to catch up with the team here, see how Eli's doing, and obviously see how they're handling these challenging conditions that we're going to see here today, and I've already seen through practice. Chatting with the team, I said, where's he at mentally? And they said he's in a really great place. I said, what about preparation, knowing that this could be a muddy race here? And they said they'd been keeping an eye on the weather. They were ready for it. They were prepared for it. And what they told Eli is go out there and race like it's dry. Don't think about the mud. If you go out there thinking about the mud, that's when the mistakes are going to happen. So race the track like it's dry. They sent him out there for practice, and as we know, he qualified first. So he's in a good place right now.
Yeah, in more ways than one, mentally and as far as the lap times in the muddy practice. But that's just qualifying. Now we're going to go racing. And as always, rain or shine, we're going to run two motos today. 250s will be on the gate now. And then Tomac will try to lock down the title in the first 450 moto, which comes up in the next hour. And we'll total up the scores in both classes of each moto to determine today's overall winners in the two divisions. Now it's time for the MX versus ATV all-out track map, although note that it's dry for the map.
Yeah, it looks great right now. Uphill, got this right bend, it's a little tighter, swings left. Today, everyone is really hoping for that whole shot. Makes qualifying all that more important for your gate pick. Drop back down over this tunnel jump, swing left. The mechanics area will be on the left-hand side here, so we'll probably see some action in there throughout these motos. Through the rollers, get a good drive up the hill. The riders are stepping up to the tabletop. It's a little bit different. We did see Eli get all the way over in qualifying once. Step back down the hill. There were some big ruts into this corner. They did a little bit of grading through there. Then there's the triple step up. Don't think we'll see anyone do that today, but they'll double up there and drop off the fly jump. This part of the track a little more tight, a little more undulation, so it drops down. So in the bottom of these dips, you got even freestanding water, some deep ruts. Through some of these banked corners, the water has run off, gives you a little more traction. We've seen different lines coming into play. They're down the far straightaway through here. Saw a lot of freestanding water once again, but the riders still able to keep their speed, do the jumps. We saw them wheeling through those water puddles. Then the next section here, these right and left, very muddy and tacky. They put in some rollers through here, a right-hander, and over your Lucas Oil finish line jump, and that's the lap here at Ironman.
Okay, the track map was dry, but our Garmin Verb camera on the course preview will show was not dry when we took off for qualifying earlier today. This is Dakota Alex on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC KTM, and he gets covered instantly.
Switcheroo.
All right, on the Garmin Verb, you still get 360 degrees. So if the front gets roosted, you can still see. But it was chaos in qualifying, and Dakota here ends up not actually making the motos today. Several top factory riders didn't make it. Colt Nichols did get into the show, and you see a lot of factory riders surrounded by privateers who qualify quickly. We'll see how Colt and his crew do next.
I'm Colt Nichols, and you're watching Lucas Oil Pro Motocross on MAV TV.
Last week, Aaron Plessinger captured us.
Championship Power Sports on a Honda. Auto West Michigan, the 841, Jeff Walker. Out of Pasadena, Maryland, on a YZ250F on the number 162 machine, Maxwell Sanford. He has third gate pick from Manoa, Ohio. A second-generation racing family, the Hand Racing. It's the 303 of Michael Hand. Coming at us from Harvard, Illinois. He rides a Woodstock KTM 250 SXF. He wears number 570, Cody Van Buskirk. Folks, make some noise for pole position. Out of Bruce Crossing, Wisconsin, on a privateer KTM, the 367, Hunter Sales. 40 riders down there, not only one of them can win. They know that Plessinger is the champ. He's got nothing but pride on the line. But so many of these guys are hoping to fill these open slots, and what a way to do it. Last race of the year, pull one out of your hat. You're only remembered by your last race, Rob, and that's what a lot of these guys are hoping for. A bit of interesting information brought to us on Mr.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save on motorcycle insurance. And Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motosport.com. And by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world.
Mud race about to begin here, so give us the KTM keys of the moto. How do you survive these conditions, Grant?
Well, I'm sure the first one's pretty obvious. Get a good start. That makes life so much easier. Stay upright. We saw a lot of riders crashing in practice. And finish strong. Last race of the season. It's a long off season. And finish off strong. Keep it like that.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so Aaron Plessinger, it was a great performance for him last week. He won his first ever 250 motocross title there. And as you're about to see in this excerpt from MX Nation at Red Bull TV, the journey to that championship began with a commitment to training and an acceptance of a leadership role on the Star Yamaha team.
It's been tough to figure AP out for him and myself. And he's grown as a person. He has finally been able to get to that point where he could put all his talent that he has on a dirt bike, plus get his mind in the right place, and us get his program to where it needed to be for him to finally win.
This year I just blocked out all the hype and all the stuff going on around me and just tried to have fun. It seems like every time I do have fun is when I ride my best.
I think that was the biggest thing, was just maturity. He had to reach a certain maturity level to be a champion, and I think that all, just his whole part of his life, everything came together at the right place and right time, and he had a great Supercross season and he won his first championship.
Supercross really gave me a lot of confidence and winning that championship, and it's been a journey, but I'm glad to call myself a team leader now.
But here was the leader of the pack in qualifying today. Yes, Hunter Sales, because the B group, the privateer practice, ended up being faster.
Actually quite remarkable. We saw several factory riders either not qualify or on the bubble, and they're going to be way on the outside. So a lot of riders maybe not that familiar with being in the top 10 in qualifying. All of them triple-digit riders have a great start spot. Can they make this work? as I was saying earlier, there you see Plessinger, second from the left of the doghouse, and then a lot of factory riders all the way on the outside. So basically, your sweet spot is in this area roughly here. But I can't tell you how many guys are out here. We got Faulkner, we got McElrath.
Well, they only got in. They needed top 10 are automatically seeded. So a lot of the top 10 riders needed that. They weren't even in the top 40 fastest. Mitchell Falk didn't make the gate. He didn't qualify with the Troy Lee Designs Red Bull KTM. Jordan Bailey, I think, was trying to get in as an alternate, hoping someone wouldn't make the gate because he wasn't in the top 40. So some big names didn't get in.
Plessinger might be the big name that's probably in the best spot at the moment.
19th gate pick for him. So here we go, racing in the mud in Indiana. Chase Sexton on the inside along with the 62. That's Justin Cooper. And Cooper's got himself a whole shot, and honestly made that look easy.
Yeah, that's what being light will do for you, especially see how heavy the conditions are. Oh, riders slipping and sliding. You can see they've had the equipment out there. They've done some work. Someone goes down. Didn't see who that was, but in front of several, well, majority of the pack.
Oh, man. And that is that McAdoo? Yeah, that's McAdoo. Oh, my gosh. We got a half a dozen riders down there. They can't get those bikes to move.
I can't see who that is, but his front wheel is buried.
No one can tell who that is. We do know this is Justin Cooper out front. I'm sure the New York native has plenty of experience in these conditions. You throw in a big hole shot in an early lead like this, and he's going to be tough to stop. He's got Sexton right behind him. You can see evidence of bulldozer blades all over as they tried their best to shape this track up, but I cannot even describe how much rain we had this morning. And it really barely stopped. We'd have a break of maybe 5 or 10 minutes here or there, but for the most part, it was a driving rain.
And good job to the track crew. Every time they had a session ended, they were out there and they were literally pushing off freestanding water. So even though it's muddy and sloppy, it's going to come around as a better racing track. It's going to get tough. See right now, no ruts have in certain sections. These are the G-outs I was talking about. You come down a hill and there was all that freestanding water. As we go through the pack, and I hate to say, but we're obviously looking for some of our top riders.
There's almost no way to know. I think I saw Ferrandis in third, but we're going much further back now. That's 258. That's a Rod Bell, I think, who's just fresh out of the amateur ranks. We just saw the Yamaha. And if you were with us for our race at Unadilla 2 weeks ago, that was a mud-y race, but it was not a full-on mud or nothing like this.
And I stress it again, the track is probably at its best right now because it's there you can see that was one area that went, because it's so low, they weren't able to drain that water. They got a lot of it out.
570 saw on the back of the jersey. That's Cody Van Buskirk. He was actually second fastest in qualifying today because, again, they divide the qualifying sessions up into two groups. One group is riders that have scored points. The other group is for riders that have not, for the most part. So generally that's privateers. But the unseeded group, that group that hadn't scored points, they ride the track first. And the way the conditions were today, the track was much better. Just kept getting slower. So the factory riders and the riders that were ranked had problems. Somebody already riding off to the pits.
That was a Troy Lee team rider. Wow. I know about that really colorful gear they had on.
Chase Sexton back here in second at our last race. Overall, got right behind his teammate who won took the win, Hampshire. So that's Plessinger coming through in third. Thought that might have been Ferrandis. So Plessinger, these aren't great conditions for anyone, but he likes it. He's very good in the mud.
He took a look over his shoulder to see who's behind him, and he's going to go, oh, there's another brown guy.
Yeah, no knowledge at all who that might be.
Goggles gone already.
Is he riding with that goggle?
He just threw them.
Oh, jeez.
So, to answer your question, yes, he's riding without goggles. I'm curious, though.
Well, I'm going to look for two things here. When Ferrandis won at Unadilla, there are the goggles. Ferrandis won at Unadilla. Wow, tripling up the top of what they call Godzilla here in these conditions. Okay, Ferrandis won at Unadilla, and he pulled an old trick. He wore two goggles, pulled goggles, still had a fresh set. I've got to wonder if his teammates didn't all learn from that. We saw Plessinger throw his goggles. No, that's it. That's the only pair he had.
Well, with it being this early in the race, and he's got a bit of a gap behind him, he could probably pull into the pits.
We saw a lot of that.
And get his goggles without losing a spot even.
I think it was at this race years ago. Trey Kennard in the 450 class ran the double goggles and ended up winning the race. And a few riders through the years have used it. Obviously, it's difficult to see through 2 sets of lenses and tear-offs and roll-offs and all that, but you can basically roost through a set of goggles on the first lap. We got Skadras here up front. There's Hampshire, last week's winner in the 36, got around him. And then McElrath in this fight also. So this is 4th, 5th, and 6th. Mud's a great equalizer, and you got privateers like Skadras right in the hunt.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Tyler Skadras, he was 7th in qualifying, so probably I've got to assume that's his best ever by a long shot. And having a stellar moto this one around. So the man from Wisconsin, probably also pretty familiar with some wet riding. Look at that down there.
That's Ferrandis right behind Skadras right now as we go into these wet rollers.
How about McElrath? Got to give him a shout out. He was, I think, the 3rd from outside gate. So considering he was in no man's land off the start, he's come out of this, I think, about as good as he could have.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. This is when we're very thankful for our transponders.
Oh, yeah. That's how we know that it's Ferrandis who's just made the move on Skadras. And a couple riders down here, and they're not happy, but you got to work together.
Yeah. A little discussion there.
There's going to be...
Well, you know what happens a lot of times.
Yep.
Guy gets sideways in the mud and comes across and unintentionally T-bones the other guy. So I think that we know who got T-boned.
That got to work together there. That is... get off of my bike, dude.
All right, if you can't do it, I'll move it. It looks like 2.5.
No way we can tell the numbers on these guys. And he helps the guy get his bike off of his, and then he cannot get himself up, and his opponent rides away without providing any help.
That looks like Ferrandis' riding style.
Yeah, that's Ferrandis. We saw he made the move on Skadras, so that should be 5th place. Skadras back to 6th. He's got McElrath in that fight also, and Hampshire just ahead of them. Still Plessinger's 3rd, Sexton 2nd, Justin Cooper leading.
I got to say, it is a little sloppy out there, but it's not very heavy. See, the riders are still able to carry momentum around the track. That will become a little bit effective because as they go around, it'll start getting choppy, like in those ruts. It'll start drying out. And then when it dries out a little bit, the mud goes from flinging off the bike to wanting to cling to the bike. And then the bike becomes heavy. And that's also another factor that really weighs the bike down is you add 20 to 30 pounds of mud. It makes a huge difference when you're out there, especially later in the motor when you're getting a little fatigued.
Well, the cleanest and lightest in that case is going to be your leader, Cooper, who got that all-important motosport.com hole shot. Meanwhile, you can see Ferrandis in contrast. Well, you would need contrast on your screen to be able to figure out even who this is. Only the back of these riders has any color whatsoever. Everyone else and every other part completely covered. See that tag hanging off of the back of the Ferrandis goggles? That's what I saw at Unadilla. I believe he's running the 2 sets, and they put a little tag on the back of the first one. You see that dangling, so he can make sure he grabs the top goggle, throw that off when that's toast, and then he's got a whole other set of roll-offs underneath. And he's going to need it right now. Ferrandis is riding well. He's in 5th place and struggling. How difficult it is.
He's struggling, but knowing Ferrandis' ability in these conditions, wouldn't surprise me to see him continue his march to the front.
Yeah, this is less struggle than everyone else. They're all feet off the pegs at times. And back to our leader. Just pulled a roll-off string there in the 100% goggles and keeps himself up front with clean vision. And he has a 3.5-second lead on Sexton. Now, Cooper has won a moto this year. Won it at round 3 in Colorado, but has yet to win an overall. It has been a great rookie campaign for him. He's 3rd in the series. And a lot of the great results came from great starts. Hadn't seen any of those whole shots from Cooper second half of the year. Sexton, we saw it got close for a moment. Oh! Cooper almost throws it away.
That's what happens when you get off that main line. But, yeah, like you said, Sexton got pretty close.
Yep.
But I think he did get affected by the fallen riders.
So this is why Cooper's out front. We mentioned that there were factory riders surrounded by privateers. Cooper and Sexton were the only 2-digit riders on the inside of the start, and they were the ones that got the best jump.
Yeah, see about 5 gates from the inside. Oh, his feet come off, but just that first turn just open enough that they didn't have to shut off on the inside. Plessinger had a good jump as well. I can't believe how Faulkner came out so good from the outside.
Yeah, he is in 9th place right now, Faulkner. So, yeah, you were thinking that was a death sentence to be all the way out there the way this start works out.
It is, but you get that, what I call the spearhead effect, where everyone funnels in and there's a few that sneak out between it, then everyone else chops the throttle. He probably knew just stay wide the whole time and never let off, because you just saw him sneak in just, right at the end of that opening turn.
So Justin Cooper continues to lead. Suddenly, 9 seconds is the gap over second place Chase Sexton. Eli Tomac about an hour away from going to the gate and trying to clinch a championship today in the 450 class. So here's Cooper. Just as quickly as his gap, this is amazing. He had a 3.5-second lead. It went to 9 seconds. Now it's back to 2.7, all in the course of 1 lap, as he and Sexton exchange bad lines and mistakes around this track. You see Sexton's not too far behind now.
Sexton looks really strong.
Looks racy.
Yeah, every time he loses ground or makes a mistake, he just closes right back up. This is the part of the track that is starting to tack up. This is the more clay, sticky part. In fact, you can see our TV trucks in the background. So I've had a chance to walk out there. Yeah, a little more sloppy, but the dirt on this part of the track just a little more sticky. You can see those fenders flopping. That's from the added weight. Well, the thing too is when, like I said, when it stops raining, it starts to tack up. Yellow flag coming out, must be a lapper. But when the mud starts sticking, the bike just gets extremely heavy. And I remember one trick I actually learned in the GPs, because of the large amount of mud races and sticky mud. Learned it from, I think, Everts and those guys, and they said, if the bike feels really heavy and sticky, just case a jump or flatland something.
Really?
It'll bottom out and it'll not feel that great, but you'll probably shred 15, 20 pounds of mud.
Wow.
That was a good little secret from there.
Those guys know the mud over there for sure. Right now it's the New Yorker leading the way.
And more yellow flags.
Yeah. ARCA Racing Series, the General Tire Grabber 100 from DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, coming to you live Monday, September 3rd at 4 Eastern on MAV TV Motorsports Network. Really cool. ARCA Series on MAV TV. We could show you the point standings. Sheldon Creed, I used to cover back in his off-road truck racing days, has now moved over to pavement quite successfully, leading the ARCA Racing Series right now. Riley Earp's actually part of the Joe Gibbs Racing program, and they'll be racing with their motocross team in our next moto, the 450 class coming up. We'll have Chad Reed on board. It's a fill-in for Weston Pike. So a lot of news in the motocross industry this week. Part of it involving this Yamalu Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha team. Justin Cooper is leading the race for that squad right now. 3rd place in this race is Aaron Plessinger. Just wrapped up this championship already last week. And Yamaha making it official that Plessinger will move up to the 450 class full-time next year. So it'll be on riders like Cooper, Plessinger, or Ferrandis to take Plessinger's place and win races and titles next year.
Another rider that's moving up to 450s is Savachi. So this may be his last race at 250. Right. And Savachi was having a decent moto going for him, but he had troubles of his own right when we're at break. Savachi, there's a fallen rider. You'll see from the left, you'll see McElrath, and then Savachi is not in that rut and right in the mud.
And we saw a very similar situation for Savachi early at Unadilla, where he got sideways at the bottom of Gravity Cavity. It's been that type of season for him. And we got a race in our hands, so the late Sexton will just not give up on this pursuit of Cooper. And yeah, 3rd place Plessinger's in it as well.
This is good. This is what the fans wanted to come and see. You know, in the mud, it's going to be a tough one. It's a different kind of racing. It doesn't look as intense in that. But mentally, this is so demanding. These guys are just trying everything. One, not to crash.
Yep.
But two, to obviously go with speed. If you're just trying not to crash, I could get around a lap without crashing, but it'd take me 10 minutes. These guys are trying to go as fast as they can without throwing it away.
Now, I mentioned Chad Reed going to be racing in the 450 class for Joe Gibbs Racing here in a moment, and Will's actually caught up with the 2-2. Will?
Yes, I have indeed, down here at the JGR tent now with Chad. Chad, last time we saw you here racing at Outdoor National, it was 2015, High Point, I believe. We haven't seen you in a long time, so fill us in where you've been and what you've been up to.
Well, I have been racing, just not, not the Outdoor Nationals. And that's, there's not like, oh, I hate the Nationals. It's just, I got 3 kids, a wife, and there's more to my life than racing a full series, And I think that there's a reason why there's not 36, year old people out here, because it's a long season, and that's why I'm here, is because I have taken that time away. But it's nice, to get that call up last Tuesday and get on a plane to Charlotte on a Wednesday, test the bike real quick, and here we are. So it's gonna be a tough one.
Now, you say test the bike real quick, and you're not kidding there. You haven't spent that much time in the seat, have you? So what has been the preparation gone into this, and how do you think you're going to fare? I think we've got challenging conditions today thrown into that as well.
Yeah, I think the challenging conditions, I shouldn't say they help me, but they equalize the field a little bit. Outdoor Nationals, one reason why I don't do it is it's so gnarly. These guys don't get enough respect, and I think for me, stepping away and coming back in on a weekend is really, really difficult, but, the tough survive. And the fittest survive, and I don't know that I can claim I'm the fittest this weekend, but man, it's equalizing. It's going to be brutal out there. We'll see if we can get this, JJR Suzuki up front out the start, and I think if I can get a start, I can hang. I can slop around in the mud and hang with the best. So see what we can do.
Well, you prove you're going to be a challenger out there for sure, Chad. We saw you qualify in 7th, so we're looking forward to seeing you race. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
guys.
All right, thanks. And that's a 2009 champion of the 450 class, Chad Reed. Yeah, he does still race Monster Energy Supercross. But I did not think, I don't know what odds Vegas would have put on someone saying you'll see Chad show up at a Lucas Oil Pro Motocross race this year for the first time in 3 years. And he picked a heck of a one to come back to, because look at these conditions, and a battle is on our hands. You don't often get close racing in the mud, but we've got it. We're 15 minutes into the moto, 15 minutes to go. The Geico Honda rider, Sexton, has caught the leader, Cooper, but he's also been caught by the third-place rider, Aaron Plessinger.
A couple things I'm watching. The track is starting to tack up. So that's changing the conditions. And to the naked eye, it might just look like it's sloppy and muddy, but it's becoming that rutted, tackier mud where the mud will stick. That, I think, is going to help AP. He's stronger in that. You can tell as this track's getting more, as it's getting tougher, he's getting a little bit quicker. But on the other flip side is that bike is starting to puke out coolant, and that's been going on for a few minutes now.
And a lot. We saw Ferrandis' bike with coolant coming out. Oh, there's riders down everywhere.
Jeez.
I think that's McAdoo again. Might be the same spot that he was in earlier. He had climbed to 12. Anyway, we saw Ferrandis' bike steaming like this a bit at Unadilla, but not this
that
badly.
Looks like a Geico.
Yeah, I think that's McAdoo, because I see the 6.
Yep.
66. So McAdoo was in 12th place, but I'm not sure where he's going to be now when they come back around. As we try to keep track on this. There's
Sexton.
Yeah, this is Plessinger challenging.
Did Sexton get by?
He's challenging Cooper, but is this for the lead or is this for second place? Or did Sexton get stuck in one of those sections?
I think he might have gotten around. I thought I saw Honda.
Okay.
But then
yeah,
again,
I believe Sexton's now in the lead. So Sexton has taken the lead from Cooper, and Cooper is under pressure from Plessinger. So just as quickly as Plessinger put pressure on Sexton, Sexton responded and got around the leader. Now we've got a battle for second between the teammates.
Plessinger trying everything, doing just enough. But look at this. AP, he's attacking the track. Kind of a little bit like when Will was down the pits. Eli's strategy.
Yep.
Ride the track like it's not a mud race. That's what AP looks like he's trying to do. So
Chase Sexton has never won a moto here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Did get the overall podium last time out at Budds Creek under completely different conditions. It was hot, humid, and dry there. But in the mud, he's proving to be quite a rider. And we'll see if he can take it home for his first moto win ever. And then we'll send the 450s out of the mud, including the 25 of Marvin Muscan, who still mathematically has a shot at this year's championship. Sexton still out front. So this Geico team, rain or shine, things have really come around for them with a 1-2 finish. Hampshire and Sexton winning last week, and now trying to keep that alive. Other riders are trying to keep his bike alive right now.
Yeah, his front brake cable getting caught in the front wheel. It can be a little sketchy when your front wheel locks up in a straight line. That'll put you on the ground. There comes AP.
Yep.
Look at those long legs coming into use right now. And Sexton also has long legs. For a young kid, also rides, uses his height to his advantage. And in this moto, you can see standing up a lot. He's got a very good style, does Sexton.
He's going to need everything he's got, though, because Plessinger has caught him. He has cleared his teammate Cooper and is now ready to attack for the lead. These are definitely Plessinger's conditions. He loves riding in the mud and usually wins these races, so we're going to see him, it turns out, right now. And, oh, no, he's stuck. Sexton stuck. Plessinger tried to throw it in there. He got slowed as well.
Plessinger had to switch his lines, and that actually held him up. If he went just in a different line, he would have had that. Here we go. Now he's going to try a different line to the outside and put him on the inside. The crowd come alive.
Yeah, we're going to see a battle for the lead in the mud. You don't always get that. Plessinger on the inside. Sexton keeps the hammer down and is able to hold him off at least for the moment. Switching up lines in the ruts. They're really hustling now.
Oh, I think he's got it. AP.
Yeah.
But it seems like anytime AP wants to get in the battle, the clutch starts smoking. He's on it hard.
Don't forget to catch the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. It's the premier national touring sanctioning body for dirt late models. Next Thursday at 9 Eastern and Pacific, only on MAV TV. Well, MAV TV's coverage here, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, lot to cover. Aaron Plessinger has now taken the lead. Good battle here.
Yeah, Plessinger just switched up his lines. There was a mistake from Sexton about 2 corners earlier. They were side by side by side. Sexton had the inside, but then Plessinger goes from the outside, squares him up, is able to get to the inside of Sexton, gets a good drive up to this jump. They're side by side, but has a better drive down the back. And there goes the 23, doing what he's done this latter part of the season, from the lead or from behind.
Been such a strange season. A dominant year for Plessinger in so many ways, including wrapping up the title early. And look at the moto, it's 14. The most by anyone else, his teammate Dylan Ferrandis. But look at how many riders have won. 9 different moto winners this year. Sexton was leading this. Could have potentially been the 10th. If Plessinger were to falter, he will be. So both a season of dominance and parity all at the same time.
I think we said before the season that it wouldn't surprise us if there were 10 different riders to win a moto. And we're right there.
Yeah, it might just happen. So Plessinger now leading Sexton, Cooper.
Look how difficult that section is.
Ferrandis and Hampshire. There's McElrath, Alex Martin, Fortner 8th. Moseman and Nichols round out the top 10. Nagy is 11th, Sizemore 12th. Walker, Sales, and Strauss top 15. Sales was your top qualifier.
I want to say that when Plessinger was trying to get around both Sexton and Cooper, he used the clutch a little more, you know, to work it through the mud. I get that. And then you would see it start smoking. And I'm sure his crew have told him to lay off of it, because you see it smoke, and then now when he got the lead, he's not in full attack mode. It looks like he's laid off that clutch. But with that said, he also hasn't really started running away with it. There's Sexton and then Cooper right behind him. So this race certainly not over, and we know in the mud anyone can make it a mistake at any time.
Yeah, Sexton trying to keep it close here. This is a section, this right there is where Sexton nearly got stuck the last time around, and that's what allowed Plessinger to close in, and then he sprinted past him.
Right through here. This was there when they went side by side.
But look at Sexton staying with him. just hoping that he gets a mistake and another shot at what would be his first ever moto win. As for Plessinger, after wrapping up the title early, there were some rumors that he might do something crazy today, maybe ride a 125 two-stroke. And he said he probably could have. Oh, we got a rider down, 2 riders down. Man. Anyway, so Plessinger was kicking around the idea of riding a two-stroke. And I said, why not? And he said, it's going to cost me money. And I'm like, how's that? He's like, I still get bonuses to win the races. And I think, obviously, winning one of these on a 125 would be pretty tough. So what I'm telling this story for is that you know that even though Plessinger's already won the title, he came to this race to win. He's still going to get a win bonus. So even though he doesn't need the points, he's going for it. But a big mistake there, and this is Sexton's opportunity to try to get him back.
Oh, Sexton now close. Different part of the track. He's got a good drive. Look. AP might hear him, takes the line away. Good move by Sexton. He switched it up back to the inside. In the mud, you really have to not follow because these ruts are deep. So you follow a rider and he gets stuck. It's like being in a traffic jam. You just got to sit and wait patiently.
Yeah, that was Sexton's opening. He's going to need another one, but he is definitely motivated here. And they pulled away from Justin Cooper. 12 seconds advantage over third. Ferrandis another 4 seconds back.
And then a minute.
Wow, to Hampshire fifth, a minute back.
Yeah. So the front 2 are close. Third and fourth are pretty close. And then quite a gap to Hampshire, who's in 5th. He's almost a minute behind 4th Ferrandis, but he did lose some ground on this previous lap, the section they just went through. Hampshire is going to come towards us over this inside hump and just gets off balance coming in. Does the splits, little U-turn, gets the bike up, doesn't lose the spot, just some time. And then Alex Martin. That actually looked familiar, the dismount. I swear he's got a very unique dismount, and we've seen it all too often.
Yeah. Certainly that big crash he had at Muddy Creek, for example. As we watch Plessinger now start to get away from Sexton just a bit. We'll see if Chase can put the chase on him again, or is AP going to do what he likes to do, and that is win races in the mud. Another lap in the books for our leader, Aaron Plessinger. And we've talked quite a bit about his heritage. Rides well in the mud. Was raised really as an off-road rider. Riders are just down everywhere.
That was another Troy Lee rider. It might have been Alex again that they just lapped. But it's a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing you can really see is the back of the jerseys, and then once the lap, they'll come around and trip the transponders, and then we'll get a more accurate reading.
Well, what's funny is Plessinger, you can see the back of his jersey, no problem. Other riders, it's covered in mud. A lot of it's their own roost. So it shows you a little bit maybe AP's style and length. He doesn't roost himself as much as other people do.
Okay. Well, he's raced a lot of, as I was saying, off-road races where you got to race for 2 or 3 hours, so probably got some ideas as far as conserving equipment one way or another. And speaking of that, remember we saw him toss goggles early. He must have been running the double goggles because he still has a pair on. And as I mentioned, that's what his teammate Ferrandis did at Unadilla. He ran a set of goggles on top of the regular goggles. And you just let that first lap chaos toast the one set. Then on lap 1 or lap 2, you toss those, and you got another set underneath.
Ferrandis is coming.
Yeah, he is coming after.
He's the fastest guy in track. 3:02 last lap. 7 seconds quicker than his teammate, and 6 seconds quicker than Sexton.
There's no practice in pulling, and with thousands of horsepower and no limitations, every decision is critical. It's the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League, Sunday at 4 Eastern and Pacific on MAV TV Motorsports Network. You know, early in the season, the team owner for Monster Energy, Yamaha Star Racing, Yamaha, Bobby Regan, said, you know what? I think we have a chance to sweep the podium at a race at some point this year. And that chance is in play right now. You're looking at Chase Sexton in second, but he is surrounded by Yamahas. Plessinger up front, and then 2 right behind, Cooper and a charging Dylan Ferrandis. So right now, Star Yamaha has 3 of the top 4 spots, and they are coming.
I think Ferrandis may have got to run out of the corner. Cooper made a mistake. Sexton second, but look behind.
Cooper's still on the inside, see if he can hold it. Ferrandis trying to make a run for it. Can't get it done.
Wow.
And they're right behind Sexton. This is a rare, close battle. You don't normally get it in these conditions.
It is. And it's going to be tough for Cooper, who can't really see. Good move from Ferrandis to the inside. I don't know if Ferrandis is really aware of this, but the way he's riding and how close everyone is, if he puts together a couple good laps. Oh, and they crossed the finish line with about 15 seconds to go. So that means 3 more laps.
Yeah, that's not what they wanted.
No, not if you're
in a mud race.
Probably everyone except Ferrandis would be okay with that.
Yes, so Ferrandis around Cooper to third. Now putting the press on Sexton for second, with Plessinger 11.5 seconds up front. And then behind this battle, you still have Hampshire, despite the crash, in 5th. McElrath 6th. Moseman 7th. Faulkner back to 8th. Nichols 9th. Alex Martin, after a crash, is 10th.
Nichols just got lapped by Sexton.
And he's 10th place.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Sexton just able to keep the front end where he wanted it in that right-hander. Let's see how they tackle this Godzilla jump. I can't believe they were even considering jumping that.
Now they just get to the top.
Yep.
So it's basically like a step-up tabletop. Plessinger was the only one we saw go for it. Maybe in the 450s with a little more power.
Yep.
That really helps in those certain sections.
Ferrandis all over Sexton right now, and it's a solo battle. They pulled away from Justin Cooper, and Plessinger, your leader, has pulled away from them. I don't know how much this helps here, but I know there's been a lot of work that Geico Honda team putting in to build horsepower in what is a new motor this year in the Honda. And they were happy with the results last week, going 1-2 with Hampshire and Sexton. I don't know. Power probably still helps in a race like this. Definitely 100%. Been a strong result. Yeah.
Absolutely. In the 250 class, there's not one rider that will tell you that their bike's got enough power. Even though they're extremely fast, you could always do with a little bit more. So it is critical. And that's why over the years, it's always been that fight. Oh, see, Sexton had to try and get out of that rut because there was a stopped rider who happened to just get out of the way, doing the polite thing, got out of the way, but Sexton thought he was stranded. So it cost him maybe just a hair, but then it looked like maybe Ferrandis may have got held up a hair, but nope. Here's our leader. See a little bit of that red background?
Yep, Aaron Plessinger putting more riders a lap down. 2.5 laps to go now for him. Looking for the 15th moto win of the season. Wow, that was impressive. He was off almost side saddle, but still found the rut that he wanted.
Well, he's happy that this half a lap is one corner away because it feels like forever out there. This battle, I can't tell the people at home how tough it is at this point in the race. You're breathing heavy. You're using muscles you haven't used. You're paddling, you're dabbing, you can't see, you're mentally drained. I mean, look at it. You don't get to rest. And now we get a hint of sun breaking through. It's not sunny, but you can tell that means the clouds are not as thick as they were earlier this morning.
So how is that going to affect the dirt?
Well, when it starts tacking up, I think the track's going to become just a different worse.
Oh, no. Is that Cooper?
No, that looks like Ferrandis. Yeah, that's Ferrandis.
That's Ferrandis. I was wondering, it looked like there was suddenly a large gap.
Yeah.
And just like that, the pursuit from third place is over for Ferrandis. And here's one of the team people running on over.
Oh, that's his...
that's his girlfriend, I think. Oh, so third place just evaporated for Ferrandis. Suddenly, when they went over that finish line jump, we did not see anyone putting pressure on Sexton, and that's why we lost Ferrandis from that group. Wow.
That's, I've said it before, mud also brings in other factors that, teams can say our bikes are bulletproof, but no one can look you in the eye and say, without a doubt, we could ride through the gnarliest of stuff all day, every day, and not have a problem. So these bikes are under heavy load. We've seen smoking, we've seen clutches frying. As much as a test for the riders, it's also a huge test for the teams and the manufacturers. Nothing that any manufacturer or team hates more than a mechanical. I know sometimes teams feel obviously very disappointed, but sometimes also a little bit embarrassed. And it's almost like, hey, you know, guys, come on. Don't keep your heads up. It doesn't get worse than this. These machines are pushed to the max.
All right, we're going to show you Ferrandis' situation here from third place.
Yeah, it just came over, like you said, over that finish line. It's like he stalled, but you would have thought by now he would have been able to get it fired up if it wasn't.
Oh, he's so mad. Podium thrown away. And plus, to get third in the first moto in a mud race, you're still obviously in play to win the overall for the day.
Really good shot.
Yep.
Always said before, sometimes if you're in the top 10, you still have a shot. But if you're in the top 5 in Moto 1, especially with a podium, yeah, game on.
So here's Plessinger, who now has 2 to go. They just missed that 2-lap card last time around. So now they've gotten it.
He's about to put Faulkner lap down, our 8th place rider.
Running the full distance, 30 plus 2. It's Plessinger's specialty there, up on the pegs. Talked to his dad last week. Scott is a multi-time Grand National Cross Country champ and National Hare Scramble champ. Scott, he wasn't impressed with anyone riding in the muddy Unadilla. He said, I don't understand why these kids don't go wide open everywhere and keep that rear tire clean. And Scott, Aaron's dad, was known as a heck of a mud rider back in his day riding in the woods. Now Aaron's going to throw the goggles. Now, we saw him throw goggles at the beginning of the moto, so he must have been wearing 2 sets. Oh, no, Sexton! So second place is not a problem.
And there's Cooper. He saw it.
Yep, Cooper right on him from third.
Yeah, so we saw a rider down, and we saw riders trying to get around up there. He just loses it in the corner. And then obviously you knew what happened. He was going to cut underneath and washed out. You know what, Jason? You might be right, but I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I think Plessinger pulled in the pits.
Oh, you think he got
didn't
fresh
catch
goggles?
it.
Oh, okay.
Because it looked to me like he had no goggles. And then when we saw him with those goggles, that was a pretty nice, bright pink strap. So I may be wrong. Be great to find out.
So you think there might have been a pit stop that we missed?
I think so. I know Will's, it's been chaotic down in that area, so it's hard for her to identify who came in and who hasn't. But
well, we'll be able to ask him at the end of the moto. Now the goggles are off again. I think you're right. You could see his face pretty clearly when that first set of goggles came off.
That's what I thought.
Yep. So Ferrandis, I think, was running the double goggles, but not Plessinger. I would imagine it's pretty hard to see very well through them. That's why it's not an automatic thing that they always do.
Yeah. A lot of times, even with one set with all the tear-offs and roll-offs, your vision becomes cloudy.
Well, the Plessinger plan worked. He was able to make a couple of passes. Was fourth, then third, then second. Got around Chase Sexton. Sexton gave him some heat for a few laps. He made some mistakes. Aaron got away. Justin Cooper has climbed back up to third now that Ferrandis is out, and he is close to Sexton after Sexton crashed. Hampshire fourth, McElrath fifth. Oh, no! Aaron throws it away, goes down. Easy tip over.
It's okay. His lead was as big as his number, 23 seconds. He's got this.
And the bike didn't even stall.
Now, that's the only thing you make sure when you got that lead. Take it. When I say take your time, I don't mean it literally, but take your time, make sure you get the clutch and get the bike up, get yourself in a position to pick it up, because sometimes even your footing is hard. If you're in the mud, you go pick up this bike that weighs a lot more. Look at that. It's just packed with mud. I would actually love it if we were able to take a bike and roll it back onto a scale, because they know what they weigh before the race. So you actually get a real, we can always speculate. We always guess 20, 30 pounds. But I've heard some mechanics say that they believe more when it gets all in there, when you really get everything. There's Ferrandis. Look at the tires.
Oh my gosh.
They look like, you know, those bicycles that people ride on the beach with the big marshmallow tires.
Yeah, sand tire, big beach cruiser, as we watch Plessinger picking his way around.
Paddling his way to the finish line.
Joey from the Cycle Trader, Joey Ledoy from the Cycle Trader team is helping another Yamaha squad.
That was nice of Brandis picking up the Yamaha banner that they rolled over. Plessinger keeps looking back like, come on, man. I want to cross this finish line. Look at this. This is almost painful. I'd love to hear his opinion. He's going to tell you this is probably one of the gnarliest motos ever. Maybe the gnarliest for him.
Yeah, his technique is usually trying to keep the feet on the pegs, but even he can't do it here. Checkered flag is out. Mercifully, Aaron Plessinger wins a classic mutter, first moto at the Ironman National. He says he likes riding in the mud, but I don't know if he enjoyed that one. That was tough.
Performance at Bunch Creek with another second place. Congrats to him, Justin.